Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. This is part 2 of our special 2-hour kickboxing session here on Saturday, July 11th. So we just looked at my nomenclature, what I call static kick stance, which again, for example, we're going to learn 4 elbows in a moment, or focus on 4 elbows at the first level. When we learn those in my kids and my adult program, usually we start from the static kick stance so that we can really focus on the mechanics of the elbow. And then meantime, we're working on the mobile kick stance so that we can have that coming up. But, you know, as we're developing proficiency with the mobile kick stance, that not really knowing that yet doesn't hold us back from learning the other essentials. Okay, so mobile kick stance. You're going to start in your static kick stance. And I usually start everybody, you're making small circles back towards yourself. If you go forward, when we get moving, you're going to walk, you're going to lose your balance forward. So you go back towards yourself. Okay, now your feet, every time you make a rotation, a foot is touching down. I'm going to change angles here multiple times. So I know my hands are a little bit cut off in the frame. I can see it. But every single time a foot touches down, my hands have made a rotation, and that's in time together. Rotation foot, rotation foot. So right. Sometimes as a group we'll do it like this: left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Okay. So let me change this angulation here for you. Okay. So upper body, I'm here. I'm maintaining everything we talked about. Chin tucked down. Left hand slightly in front, right? Bottoms are, like again, if I was holding those 2 daggers, bottoms of my hand sticking out. And when I do this, Ajahn Chai always says you make yourself lean, like pull in, tighten your core. You have a slight curvature to your spine, but you want to be as relaxed as possible, which can be hard because you're trying to get this down, right? But when you're comfortable with it, you just kind of want to relax into the structure. But that's time. Good, beautiful. That's what I call mobile kick stance. And once again, for the benefit of everybody watching, if, when things open up again, knock on wood, I'm going to be really positive that if things are going to approach normalcy, hopefully soon, and it'll be safe for everybody. If you ever get the chance to train with Ajahn Chai in seminar, he won't say mobile or static kick stance. It'll just be kick stance or stance. And this is the one that he's trying to get everybody to learn. Okay, and once again, it's going on 15 years of Thai boxing with him, 17 years-ish of Thai boxing total. This is my 17th year. A lot of the time that I've been with him, if the day is a 4-hour day, especially on, maybe it's 2 4-hour days or 2 5-hour days with a lunch break in the middle, the first 2 hours, hour and a half of the seminar, especially based on who's there, if there's a lot of new people, might just be developing this, okay? Because again, this is my speculation, but I believe I'm correct. That's more of that training fighter's mindset. He wants to have that stance looking sharp before we start, putting our energy into anything else. Now, me, I'm not trying to chip away at having standards. I'm not lowering my standards. because I teach Thai boxing, like I was saying, more in a martial academia type setting, along with several other martial arts, I want to have a methodology to start learning things even while we might be working, because it's really interesting over the years. Some people take to this like a fish out of water, and some of my most coordinated students struggle like heck with that. So it's different for everybody. So I'd rather not have something like that that holds us back. So that's going to bring us to this point. Okay, so everybody get in your static kickstance. Now I want you to think of what we're about to do in the context of everything we've done today. In Thai boxing, the jab is legal, the cross is legal, the hook is legal, the body hook is legal, the rear variations are legal too. But remember, we especially if you're new, you want to develop that lead hook and lead body hook first. Uppercuts are legal, overhands are legal. And again, for broader context, just remember hammer fists are not legal. That's something that I put in other programs when we're not doing martial athletics. So let's look at the first 4 elbows that I add, because I want you thinking you have all those tools and all that information on how to make those punches effective. Now let's add in, and there are 9 elbows currently in the WTBA, 9 different kinds of elbows. We do all of them on both sides. Here, this is the first level though. I've chosen what I think is going to be essential for somebody new to layer in with your basic boxing to start to integrate punches and elbows effectively, okay? So, static kickstance, right cover, left horizontal elbow. Okay, yeah. So if you're from your perspective, everybody watching, you'd be knocking me out for boom, that way. That's it, there. All right. So, and I want to make one point. This is, and I was going over this in the kids' class this morning. So the hook, as we were training it in the kids program, the slap and the body slap, and in the adults program, the body hook, we were looking at that foot rotation, right? This getting, I mean, now my foot's out of the frame, but getting up on the ball of the foot to generate power. We don't do that in Thai boxing because that leg is going to get kicked, because leg kicks are legal, okay? So it's this, and what I want you to do, and this is the current cover in the Thai Boxing Association. I'll show you the old cover and talk about that in a moment. When you do this elbow, to make it worse, I want you to flex your forearm. So point your knuckles out. Yes, because even if it were martial athletics, if it's, you've taken a smoker that let me address that in 1 second, what I just saw, Rob, okay? If you've taken a smoker that allows elbows, your opponent's trained elbows. So you got to mean it. That means that the two of you agreed you'd be doing elbows. So I'm assuming in the moment, if you choose an elbow, that's an opportunity to end the fight or do a lot of damage. So you want, I mean, getting hit with an elbow period is no fun, but if that's a tool you're choosing, let's make it as effective as possible. So this flex to engage all of this makes that moment worse rather than just relaxed hand. So we flex this forearm by turning our knuckles out, okay? And I saw Rob, this is a really good question. Just your physicality brings this question up, and let me answer the question explicitly for everybody watching, okay? With boxing gloves, it's hard. Well, with this one, it's not too bad. With boxing gloves, you are allowed to terminate outside of the cover rather than inside. if the boxing gloves, if the boxing gloves are going to cut your range off, like, see, this cuts, that's as far as I can move because this actual glove is running into my forearm here. So you can, with gloves, terminate out, we call it terminating outside of the cover rather than inside. Empty-handed, though, my recommendation is you're here because that you don't have that bulky glove occupying all that space, pop, and you can keep that makes that structure tighter. It actually cuts your power off when you terminate outside. So empty hands, I always terminate everything inside the cover for empty hands, okay? Now, I'm not a collector and I'm not a historian, but I am an instructor, and I think it's the instructor's job to pass along information. For maybe, how long, realistically? 7 years, 8 years, the cover was here. So whenever you elbow, you'd elbow like that. That was when I started, that's where it was. And I remember, I'm just telling a quick war story here. I think I was the second or the third senior most person on the floor. We're all doing our shadow boxing to start the session. And Audrey comes over to me and the senior most person. He's like, okay, so instructors, we're not doing this anymore. We're doing this. And so all in same elbow, right? This tool doesn't change, just the cover is here, okay? And over the years, especially in the last few years, he's modified several things. Now, here's the thing about Ajahn Chai. Excuse me. And again, we're sort of talking when things look normal. Things are definitely not normal right now. Normally, he would do seminars for most of the year, and then November, December, he would go back to Thailand and stay there, into New Year's. And what Guru Dan, everybody who knows him really well, what they always tell us is, like, doesn't matter how old, he rests for about a day or two, and then after about 2 days, he's bored. So he starts going to all the Thai boxing camps. And he's always looking like, okay, this camp is best at elbows. And so my guess, the camp that he thinks is winning most fights with elbows, they started covering like this. So we modified it. And so on. So things will change as time goes on. But anyways, you're in your static kick stance. You have your lead horizontal elbow. Now, you can certainly throw a rear horizontal elbow, but if I'm being honest with you, it doesn't fit me. It doesn't feel good. Doesn't mean it won't fit you. You should train it. You should try it. But because of the body mechanics that I've spent all that time working on with my hook and my slaps and my body slaps and body hooks, this horizontal just feels good to me in the lead. I probably wouldn't do a rear. So the second required elbow in the first level of my kickboxing curriculum, left hand cover. You can be either right hand open or right hand closed, but you're going to turn it palm out to your right, downward diagonal elbow. Okay, so this line, and once again, I don't want to upset anybody, but if you train Filipino martial arts with me, the first angle of Eskrima 1, that's angle 1. That's the line that we're cutting. Okay, and this has very similar mechanics as the cross. You're dropping your body weight forward, and you're committing on that line, boom, to try to knock the person out. But like I said, left-hand cover, momentarily, this turns out open or closed, bam, and then you're going to drop that through the line. So that's elbow number 2, required elbow number 2. Rear downward diagonal elbow. So what's required so far? Lead horizontal elbow. And again, you can certainly work on a rear horizontal elbow. Nothing wrong with it. It's just not a requirement because again, most people in my experience develop that elbow in the lead side faster and more effectively. Second required elbow, rear downward diagonal elbow. And I'm flexing this and turning my knuckles out to make that elbow as deadly and as nasty as possible, just like the other one. Now, you can certainly do rear downward diagonal elbow. I'm sorry, lead downward diagonal elbow if you want to. I'm sorry, that would be here. Lead downward diagonal elbow. But again, I'm just telling you my preference. To me, that feels bizarre. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying for me, I don't particularly like that. It doesn't feel good. It feels good on the rear side. And maybe that's bad word choice. It doesn't feel like I'm going to be able to generate power. How about that, right? Because sometimes we have to do things that don't necessarily feel good if they're effective. But this, I feel the coordination. I feel the potential to knock somebody out with that downward diagonal on the rear. I don't have that same sensation with the lead elbow. Again, because for me, there's coordination between the body mechanics that I trained with my cross and this elbow. Just like on the first one, there's body mechanics that I trained on my hook or my slap, even though I'm not rotating on that lead leg, that helped me with that horizontal on the lead. Well, here I prefer that on the rear, okay? So that's the second required elbow. Lead horizontal, rear downward diagonal. The third elbow, we're gonna do it on both sides. So it gives you 4 elbows total. This is gonna coordinate with the body mechanics from uppercuts. So here, left cover, right rising diagonal elbow, right cover, lead, or left rising diagonal, right? So these are, respectively, if you train Filipino martial arts with me, even though we'd be doing it at the knees, when you do it with the right, that's angle 9. When you do it with the left, that's angle 10, right? Because we go 9, 10. So it's just on the high line. So lead horizontal, rear downward diagonal, lead rising diagonal, rear rising diagonal. So with the rising diagonal elbow, that is one where I'm asking participants to learn it on both sides. The first two, I just want you to put your energy into developing that one on the lead. If you want to develop it in the rear, that's like a bonus for you. The second one, you're putting your energy into developing that on the rear side. If you want to spend time on the lead, you're certainly welcome to do that, but that's a bonus for you. The third and final elbow, I'm requiring that you spend time working it on both leads, the lead and the rear. And again, that's got some coordination. As I'm here, I dip down, right? Just like when I uppercut, okay? So for anybody watching if you've watched part 1 and now you're watching part 2, I hope you're seeing the coordination between the body mechanics we're developing within the Western boxing mechanics and how some of those things are going to now come into play with your elbows. Okay, so here, you know what, I'm going to change this view so I can see. There we go. And now here, this isn't formally required until the second level of the curriculum, but you could start playing with things like jab, cross, lead, horizontal elbow, right? You could start playing with cross, hook, rear, downward diagonal elbow. the uppercut, the second and the third and second to last of the martial athletics ones, we played with lead uppercut, rear uppercut, hook. Well, you could lead rising diagonal, rear rising diagonal, hook. You could play with rear rising diagonal, lead rising diagonal, cross. Okay? And as you see, sometimes as I'm moving through those modalities, I might punch while I'm doing my cover from Thai box. As long as your hands are up, that's not a problem. And especially if you use the Thai boxing cover for your punching, you're usually going to be okay. All right, it's just that's one of my big martial arts pet peeves is when systems teach like an elbow like that. Like, where is your other hand? That makes no sense. If we spend all this time in martial arts that when you throw punches, you have to be covering, because when you're in punching range, when your opponent's in punching range, you're in punching range. Now we're closer and there's more severe consequences for getting hit, but you're going to throw a tool and get lazy with your covering hand. That makes zero sense to me. That's always incensed me a little bit, that it's like, well, I'm throwing an elbow, and an elbow is so deadly that I don't need to worry about my rear hand. I mean, that's nonsense. You're in that range. So it's the same mentality. Just because you're throwing an elbow, even if it's your best elbow with good form, don't assume you're going to knock the person out. Protect yourself. Hit and return to structure, right? We kept saying that in Western boxing. You throw a combo and you return to structure. You don't throw with crazy wild abandon and endanger yourself. Did I get him? And that's the opposite of what you want to do. And that's martial athletics or just self-defense. That's just bad business. That's a great way to get knocked out in martial athletics, and that's a great way to get seriously injured in a martial arts situation. Okay, so we have one more solo tool, which is going to be straight knee number 1. So my hands are going to do this. Right hand's going to be in front. Fingers, all of your fingers pointed up towards the ceiling. And there's no contact with this. What I want is for, especially with a glove, what I want for 1 second is my opponent to see the inside of my palm. And in that moment, I'm going to knee. So let's talk about the lower body. This is we call it straight knee. So just isolating from my static, it's here. It's coming in straight. Again, if you train Filipino martial arts with me, it's an angle 5. Even if you're seeing a little angulation, it's an angle 5. And when we do this kind of knee, in the context of a straight knee, the verbalization, I need to cover the verbalization. The verbalization is, we say tang, T-A-N-G. Tang means spear, because we're thinking about, if you like, think about a spear with a tip, like a barbed tip, right? When you go to spear somebody, you're going to gore them. It's going to enter, and you're going to run them through. That's what a spear does. This knee has the same mentality. So tang, that's the verbalization, and we'll talk about the verbalization in a minute. And so knee, replace. Knee, replace. And I know my hands are out of the frame, but I'm doing that with my hands right as the knee would be making contact. And I'm knee, replace. That's the idea. And you might have reps every now and then where tang, oh shoot, and you lose your balance and you set down in a right lead. That happens to everybody. Try to avoid that. But that's why we have reps, okay? I had 9 good reps and 1 bad rep where I lost my balance. Well, 9 out of 10 is pretty good. Keep working on it. Try to eliminate that 10th rep. But this right here, that's straight knee number 1. Okay, so Thai boxing tools, what do I call it exactly? I call this, well, this is all under a heading called solo demo, meaning you demo this by yourself, right? So you show here's my box stance, frozen. Here's my kick stance, my static kick stance. I'm working on my mobile kick stance, whatever that's going to look like. And remember, if you train with Ajahn Chai, he's not going to say mobile kick stance, just going to say stance or kick stance. From we can go back to our static, or if everybody feels comfortable, you can try your mobile, because this is where you go later in the curriculum. Lead horizontal elbow, and you would say sock, okay? Spelled S-A-W-K to anglicize it, pronounced exactly the same as what I'm not wearing and would be wearing underneath my shoes, right? Sock. And sock means elbow. So verbalization, we have sock for elbow, tang for our straight knees, ish for punches, I-S-H, ish, 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 sock, tang. And then oi for kicks. We haven't really covered kicks, and I'm running out of time. I might need to do Savat tomorrow, but Dylan's here. I feel badly. Okay. And why do we have the verbalization? So if you know the American English idiom, getting the wind knocked out of you, what are we talking about? You get hit. Okay, great. Well, good. Dylan's flexible. Fantastic. You get hit in the diaphragm. Carbon dioxide is forcibly expelled from your respiratory system. If the timing is bad, that causes the experience of almost like a computer rebooting while you wait, because that was not in time. Breathing is autonomic, right? If it wasn't, we wouldn't be able to go to sleep without suffocating. Because boom, that happened. That's where we get knocked the wind. You got the wind knocked out of you, right? And even I think it's only, and it hasn't happened in martial arts. I think it happened to me once as a kid. I fell off my bike and I landed in such a way, I was fine, but it kind of pushed all the carbon dioxide out of my respiratory system, and I sat around for about 45 seconds, a minute, feeling like I couldn't breathe, right? So why do we have the verbalization? Because you are consciously breathing. Ish, the SH sound, shh, forces that. Sock, tang, ish, oi, okay? And frankly, for the uninitiated, they're like, what the heck is that guy doing, right? So we have that sometimes at seminars, like the instructors are doing their thing, and frankly, they might be doing their thing because they know it's expected. Ajahn looking for that, even if you don't like keep that up in your own practice. I'm not talking about being underhanded. That's that thing sometimes if you know an instructor expects something out of you, all right? But anyways, it's intimidating if you don't know what's going on. But mainly the verbalization, is there so that you're constantly breathing and that you have less of a chance of taking a shot in the diaphragm and having that forced expelling of the carbon dioxide and getting the wind knocked out of you. Okay, so ish, ISH, and if you don't want to do the I sound, you can just shh, 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 stop, tang, and then for kicks, oi, okay, and that's that verbalization piece. So we got everything for solo demo. Let me get into the World Thai Boxing Association focus mitt drill. And this has been one of the drills that I've discovered. I will stipulate again, I can't wait to physically get together with everybody and have training and do what we were planning on doing this summer, like, you know, seminars and training events around the country. And I mean, very exciting, but we're going to do that when it's safe to do all that. This is a drill that in the past 16 weeks, I've been doing this drill through the technology, and it's actually kind of cool. Not as good as being there with you, but it's still pretty cool. Okay, so this is going to be boxing centric as we learn the fundamental pieces. Okay, so everybody in a left lead, and normally it would be freelance, and I'm always going to call it for you. So this would be your jab, this would be your cross, and then you have the 4 count: jab, cross, hook, cross. So I hold like this: jab, cross, hook, cross. That's it. And so you have 3, at least to start, you have 3 offensive pieces. 2 of them are singular tools. Jab, that's your jab. Here's your cross. And then you have 1 combination, which is the 4 count: jab, cross, hook, cross. Beautiful. Okay. And there's more, but we start there. And frankly, if you have those basics, you are ahead of a lot of people. Now we have 2 defensive modalities on both sides of the body. So when I feed this is going to be the bob and weave. Okay? And so that line that I just gave you, here's the bob, here's the weave. Now notice where my body is positioned. This is going to set me up for hook, cross. Okay, so I was left lead, I bobbed away from it, I weaved under it, my body weight was to the side, hook, cross. Okay, so if you imagine you bob and weave under it, hook, and cross. Okay, and again, I wish we were all physically together, but when I have multiple people training this and I'm the feeder and I'm watching everybody screen, it's kind of cool as a training modality, okay? The other one is you're gonna bob and weave the other way. Your body weight is, so from here, bob and weave, your body weight is in the back. Cross, hook, cross. Okay, so you bob and weave. This is this way. Here we go. Bob and weave, cross, hook, cross. That's it, okay? Here's the way that I help people learn this drill over time. How do you know if it's 2 or 3 punches? You're always going to end on the cross. You're either going to be throwing hook, cross, or you're going to be throwing cross, hook, cross. Okay, so when I bob and weave here, body weight's to the side. So I hook and I cross. When I bob and weave here, body weight's back. Cross, hook, cross. So that's the bob and weave modality. I would also point this out. In a live setting, this is a really great drill. We have one more tool. This is a really great drill. This is a really great drill if you train kids, because once they get the basics, you make it like an expectation in class that you're going to feed them one at a time. All right. Now, granted, if you're teaching classes of 30, that's hard. You don't want to. You want to have them, get a partner and one side focus mitts, and then 3 minutes, and then have them switch. That's the way that we'll do it in large group classes. In small group class, like my kids' program on Roosevelt Island, we never got there, but it was going to have a class max of 10. We were about half full, so we have like 6. That's very doable. And you have the senior kids go first because they love to go fast, And what you can do with senior students is, doesn't matter if they're kids or adults. I never like take them out, but I do, if they're getting lazy, I'll move in and I'll just touch the side of their face. That's what this drill is about. Okay, and a quick aside, and then we'll finish this. Usually if you're testing for instructor under Rajan Chai, it's coming on the Sunday of a seminar weekend. Well, all the instructor candidates, this is the way it used to be. He's had some health issues, so he doesn't do this anymore. All the instructor candidates had to do a round with him holding for you. And when Ajahn Chai, I don't mean to like glorify my instructor, but when Ajahn holds focus mitts for you, he can hit you anytime that he wants. And it's scary, but it's also kind of exhilarating. And he does the same thing when you as an instructor really know this drill. He shows you anytime that, even if it's just that gap right there, right, that you're being lazy with your hands, or any other kind of flaws within your structure. It's a great drill for revealing that. All right. Anyways, last tools here. This is supposed to simulate the body hooks, right? But the way it usually looks like that, because you're trying to, as the feeder, you're hitting with this. So you're always going to ride and come back with the opposite side uppercut, right? So if I'm going here, you would be leaning in here. I got hit on my left side, so I come back, right uppercut, hook, cross. Okay, so if you lean into this, you come back, right uppercut, hook, and cross. That's it. All right, and then on the other side, when I go here, you're riding it. You got hit on the right side of your body, so you go left uppercut and cross. That's it. So, you know, I'm getting hit here. I lean into it, left uppercut, cross. And the idea of coming back with the opposite side uppercut, again, I'm sorry, I don't have another person available to me. It prevents the clinch. Because, like, so, okay, Rob, you and I will do this through the technology. It won't be as great, but at least everybody who watches the video will know what I'm talking about. Okay, so you imagine, and just freeze, and we're going to go in slow motion because we can't make contact anyways, obviously. If you ride this hook, boom, okay. Now, if you shoot, and this is a mistake in Thai boxing, if you shoot your left uppercut at me, which has no power, your left uppercut, you're doing it wrong. Yeah, see, I'm going to pass that, and then I'm going to enter, and I'm going to clinch you, because that has like no power whatsoever. So if I bait you into riding and then shooting the weak side uppercut, which is the side you got hit on, so I'm going to pass that at the tricep, and then boom, we're into our plum or our clinch game. Okay, and that Ajahn Chai always shows us that like the fighters they bait you into throwing this up. And again, remember what we were talking about when we learned uppercuts in the boxing section, right? It's you need body behind it and that rotation. Here you don't have that. That's all arm. Like even if that connected, that's barely going to do any damage. So mostly they'll here and they'll pass it, and then you're into the plum game, the clinch game with the knees, which is especially if they end up right in that dominant position, you might have eaten a knee or two and the fight might be over. Okay, so we always, when we ride, we always come back with the opposite side uppercut. And again, it's the same rule, everybody. How do you know if it's 2 or 3 punches? You end on the cross. So I ride here, uppercut, hook, cross. That was 3 punches. I ride here, uppercut, cross. So it's always going to be 2 or 3 punches, no matter what, and you're always going to end on the cross. Most of the curriculum, frankly, beyond martial athletics, it's very rare we end on a hook. I can only think of 1 4 count in the entire curriculum, because across, you distributed your weight forward, and it's so easy to come back to structure. A hook, especially if it's somebody who's used to overdoing it, that's just a little bit harder to finish that rotation and return to structure from off the hook. So that's why you see most combinations ending off the cross. Okay, so we're gonna do this. Rob, you have your video on, which is great. You and I are gonna do a round through the technology, and I'm gonna call it for you. Okay, so we always start by paying respects. We do that why, right? That's it. This one that we did from the beginning. All right. And so I'm going to verbalize everything, and obviously I can't physically make contact, but this way everybody who watches could understand how this drill could work. Okay. And Dylan, seriously, no pressure. If Dylan had his video on, if we had other participants, I would be the holder for everybody. So everybody does the drill at once, and they respond to my feed. And that's actually one of the drills that I've kind of figured out through Zoom is actually kind of cool. Okay, so here we go. Rob, ready? Jab. Good. Jab. Good. 4 count. Jab, cross, hook, cross. Good. Bob and weave. Good. Slap. Oh, I'm sorry. Hook, cross. Good. 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 Sorry. And let's pause for 1 second. So that's a good little point there. So everybody watching, in my kids program, and I explained this earlier, we don't do hooks. So I got to call it as slap. So if I do that again, bear with me. And Rob, if you throw a hook and I say slap, really, it's fine. All right, here, let's play. Here we go. Ready? Cross. Cross. 4 count. Jab, cross, hook, cross. Good. Bob and weave. Cross, hook, cross. One more time. Bob and weave. Cross, hook, cross. Good. Good. All right. Yeah, it's all right. No, you're doing great. And there's a little bit of lag on my end, so let's let the lag settle. Jab. Cross. Jab. Cross. Good. Yeah, Dylan, you're going to play along. Good. 4 count. Jab, cross, hook, cross. Good. 4 count. Jab, cross, hook, cross. Good. Bob and weave to hook, cross. Good. Jab. Low ride. Good. Uppercut and cross. Good. Bob and weave to cross, hook, cross. Good. Low ride. Right uppercut, hook and cross. Good. Jab. Cross. And 4 count. Good. Jab, cross, hook. One more time. Jab, cross, hook, cross. And time. Nice. Okay. So they're just a little, thanks, Dylan. Thanks for turning your video on. So just an idea. And again, everything is beneficial, and for the recording, we're in the view with everybody's window at once, which is what I want on this. So this way everybody can kind of see, I'm trying to look at everybody. I'm trying to also accommodate for lag, because that's just something we have to deal with on Zoom. But while it would be better to do it live, it's not a bad drill for the group. Okay, so but that's the Thai Boxing Association focus mitt drill. I don't really have any, but I can break this down though, so you all at least understand. So the parts of the drill that are missing from the technology that we just can't account for them is, you know, the imaginary person in front of me always stays in front of me, right? So here's where I'm going to lose two of you gentlemen, right? If I sweep out here, the person should be right in front of me. If I advance, they should be retreating. If I retreat, they should be advancing. If I circle out here, they should still be in front of me. If I circle out here, they should still be in front of me, right? So that's the one thing with the technology that we kind of lose, but the basics you can get down, okay? And it's a great drill to bring up fundamental boxing and head movement. And, you know, you get to use the F word in martial arts, fun, right? Which we're always looking to be able to use that word, fun. Fun is the operative. It's fun, right? I mean, yeah, you can make it super serious and scare people, but I don't like that approach. I'd rather that it's fun. And if somebody is making a mistake, you just show them, oh, you keep dropping that hand. And then the only other thing I would say for the benefit of everybody is, I don't know, most of the martial artists I encounter are pretty nice people, an awful lot of them. Some of them aren't, but a lot of them really are. They're very nice. It's very natural to want your students to be successful. So like, especially the bob and weave, you feed over their head, don't do that. Right? I have these ancient, they're literally falling apart. I need to replace them. I'm just kind of sentimental. I've had these for so long. These are like pillows, and I don't ever really go to hit anybody, but I do try to actually make contact lightly on the real line. Because if I'm being a nice person and going over there, they're not learning anything. Nobody who tries to hit you with a hook is going to go over your head. That's not a real thing. So it's very important to actually get, and that's another aspect, is you're getting people comfortable with contact. It's like, it's okay. And even if they screw up and they get hit, like that's another thing on the high line. If you do hit them, you're teaching them how to roll with that attack and kind of dissipate the energy. So it's a very good drill. There are some other things that you can tack on top of it, but those basics, that's how I teach this in the very beginning to adults and kids. You have 3 offensive modalities: the jab, the cross, the jab, cross, hook, cross. With the kids, it's the jab, cross, slap, cross. Then they can bob and weave to 2 punches. They can bob and weave to 3 punches. They can low ride to 3 punches. They can low ride to 2 punches. It's great. And then if you develop some proficiency with that and you'd like later tools, we can certainly layer those because you build those in. But those, if you get people sharp with those tools, and even everything that we started talking about within the punching section in part 1, like if they're punching, like if they're jabbing like this, and you know, like they're a Pez dispenser, well, you keep asking for that, and then eventually you show them, you don't have to knock them out, but you just show them that deficiency within their structure. Okay, and it's a lot like a lot of feeder trainee relationships in martial arts. The feeder is at an incredible advantage, right? The feeder is not responsible for good boxing form. The feeder just keeps the mitts down until he or she, you know, flash indicates what you want the trainee to do. So, I mean, obviously, you know, it's, I know this is a weird analogy. It's like anybody doing process observation with you on your job. They're going to notice things that you don't notice, even if you're really, 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 really good at your job, because it's an external perspective. Well, the feeder has the same thing. The feeder has the benefit of asking for whatever they want as many times as they want to see it until that deficiency reveals itself. Okay, so I'm going to spend a few minutes on kicking, and then we're going to wrap it up. And again, I might just do a little bit of Savate tomorrow, and then some lens theory tomorrow, and then Rob, you and Karen had asked, can we do some blue and purple belt FMA? And that's a great plan, and that sounds fantastic. So not to be a guy without a plan, but it's usually you just start, and it's like what people really need will reveal itself. So okay, this is going to be a little rough because I don't have much to use. I'm not gonna kick my chair, but I'm gonna use my this is my office, by the way. You can't see it, it's in the corner, and we just did our taxes, and I'm not gonna show it to you because it's embarrassing. You all only get to see what I want you to see. But I'm gonna use this. I'm gonna not kick my chair, I'm gonna touch my chair. That way I have something to work with, okay? So the rear tie kick is always loaded. It's perpetually loaded. That means that the lead tie kick is perpetually unloaded or unarmed. So you never have to arm the rear kick. It's always ready to go. You always have to arm the lead kick. And this is my analogy real quickly. Thai style kicking is a baseball bat. Savate or Jun Fawn style kicking is a whip. And then here is my trick question. Which one would you rather get hit with? And I'm going to interrupt you. There's no good answer. They're both terrible. So in our world, we want to learn how to do both. Because again, context is everything. Sometimes the baseball bat style kick might be what you need. Sometimes the whip might be a better choice, right? Okay, so Thai style, I have to get off my heel. Let's look at the rear first. I have to get off my heel so that I can pivot into my target. And once again, this chair, you know what? I'm gonna put this here. That way, I learned something. That way it won't move, okay? So my target is the only thing that prevents me from spinning 360. Okay, so here. Now, what we do with our hands has changed 3 times since for the 15 years I've been with Ajahn Chai. I'm going to show you all 3, and you choose which one you like best. Okay, same side hand as the leg that's kicking drops, and the other side covers across your face. And please excuse me, that rep was awkward. I don't normally do this one anymore. I train this one out of me. So here, and see how the upper body is twisting in coordination with that lower body. And again, I'm getting off my left heel, pivoting into the target, and kicking with my shin. That's one option. Okay, second option. Same side hand as the leg that's kicking sticks out. This is not a punch though. This is not a simultaneous punch. This is just, I want the line occupied. Because you're kicking with your shin, you're closer here, okay? So the lower body remains the same. And you go out. That's more Ajahn Bryan Dobler. He's a retired professional Thai boxer. He has an Ajahn, a senior instructorship under Ajahn Chai. That's more how, like, Ajahn Bryan was getting us all to kick like he did around like 2014. Lately, we do that. We finish the same, but we start from this kind of a chamber and it swings into position, okay? And so those are the three options. And if our, I gotta be careful on here. If our right kick is perpetually loaded, our left kick is perpetually unloaded or unarmed, like I said, so we have to arm it. Okay, we're gonna spend two or 3 minutes on this, and then I gotta wrap up. I don't wanna be, I told my wife 1:05 at the latest, okay? So here's where we start, everybody. Step right, kick left. I know that's telegraphic. That's how I had to start, though. That's the first way. Step right, kick left. And you're choosing the same from the same three options. Okay, so step right, kick left. And again, I'm talking if you're in an orthodox or a left lead. Eventually, that's going to become the hop kick. The hop kick is this quick little lead switch. Okay, and let me start to show you that along with the soccer kick, and then we'll wrap up here and pick this up tomorrow. Okay, and again, if you can't attend tomorrow, I'll finish it up and you can watch the video. So everybody wins. Okay, so now what if I don't, like I started, the situation I started in, what if I don't have anything I can actually kick? Well, we're gonna do what we call the soccer kick. And let me preface this by saying, I don't know anybody, no matter how long they've been in the WTBA, that feels cool doing the soccer kick. Now, Rob just did a 360, and that's really important because you can always shadow box a full 360 to a Karasok. That's always an option. But imagine that you're doing 4 counts. The first 4 count is left kick to, we call it left to right. So I would hop left, Karasok, that wouldn't normally be there in the combo, cross hook right, Karasok, that would normally wouldn't be there in the combo. So I've done 2 360s, I'm already a little dizzy, and I did 2 Karasoks that wouldn't actually be there in the combo. So the soccer kick, I'll do a few, is just this. It's a placeholder, and I'm still, I know my hands are out of frame. I prefer the second one I showed you. That's the one I spent most of my time training. I'm still doing my hands on whichever side as appropriate. But the soccer kick, it's like a placeholder. It indicates, well, a fully committed 360-degree tie kick that gets stopped by your target would be here. But we're just not doing the actual 360 with the Karasok for reasons that I just went over. So left to right 4 count, you would have hop left, cross hook right. And that way I get to run the combo, and like I said, that's the reason and the methodology behind it. But again, I know it's like bad salesmanship. Nobody feels real cool doing the soccer kick, but that's not the point. Keep in mind what it's for. It's so you can run all your combinations without having to do a Karasok every time you kick. Okay, like I'll demo this once, like the WTBA 15 count, okay? So parry, tight cover, left elbow, right elbow, straight knee, number 2. Hop left kick, cross hook, straight knee, number 2, right kick, stop the cross with the teep, slip the teep, hook, cross, right kick. There's 3 kicks in there. If I did all 3 of those, I've done 3 360s and 3 Karisaks that are not in the combo. And frankly, one of the hardest beats is going from beat 10 to beat 11, where you do a kick into a teep. And so if I'm doing a 360 that's not there, there's no way I would ever pull off that kick to teep moment within the combination. Okay, so once again, that's the function of the soccer kick. I always use this, it's a placeholder. It's kind of you going, okay, I acknowledge this is a tie kick and that I need to do a tie kick, but I'm shadow Thai boxing right now. I don't have anything to prevent me from doing the 360. So I'm going to do this kind of moment of, again, what I would say like moment of artifice to kind of signal like this is my placeholder for the left or right kick. Okay. And let's just finish with this. The hop kick, make yourself light on your lead foot. So you're heavy on your rear foot. Set your weight down and step forward. You're heavy on your right foot. You're light, super light. Set your weight down and step forward. Small step. So you set all your weight down on your right so that you can, I'm sorry, on your left, please excuse me, on your left, so that you can step forward slightly with the right. Most common mistake with the hop kick, it's hard for me to do, sorry, don't do this, is too wide. That's the most common mistake. It's a little lead switch. It's a quick moment of lead switch. Okay? All right. I'm over the overtime that I said I would be. We need to stop here. Gentlemen, this was a lot of fun. We'll pick it up tomorrow. The adult session again, 11 a.m. And once again, no pressure if you can't be here. This is all going to get recorded and uploaded so you can take a look at it at your leisure. Thanks for making time to be here. It was really fun. Chinese? Filipino, Thai, Indonesian, French and Dog Brothers, Japanese, and real quick, just to end this again for the benefit of anybody watching, to formalize your distance training relationship with me, please head to Stoops, OMALC.com. Thanks, everybody.